Welcome back to another Advanced Wars by Web replay review, and today we're going to be looking at a game from the Global League, your place for competitive Advanced Wars. And we have a very special guest today, and that's right, it's the Blunder List, the return of the Blunder List, and we're going to be busting that out because there were some blunders made here, but we'll see if I can pull off the giant upset because I'm going against Blue Lightning 22, rated 13-15 as of this recording. As of this game, Blue Lightning 22 was rated a little bit lower, and Blue Lightning 22 is actually ranked number 69 on the standard ladder, and that definitely made me smirk when I saw it. And I am ranked 309, so I am in around, out of like, I think 1,300, so I'm like top 30%, which is still pretty good, but it is definitely nowhere close to Blue Lightning 22, but we'll see if I can pull off the massive upset here on this map, Profound Recollection. And both of us have chosen Max, the direct combat specialist who just likes to go up and punch his opponents in the face. Direct units except foot soldiers gain 20% attack. However, indirect units such as artillery rockets lose 10% attack and have -1 range. Max's normal power, max force, increases that movement range by 1 and increases that direct attack bonus, and max blast increases that direct attack bonus even further and increases his movement by 2. So two very strong powers for Max over here, and both my opponent and I are using the pre-deployed black boats for transportation purposes, and we are trying to get these cities on the weak side as quick as possible and trying to hold on to them as long as possible. For you see, this left side is my weak side, as blue has 2 bases right here, so blue will always be pumping out like double my units. So, these, I will never be able to take any territory back over here. So I'm trying to get these cities as early as possible and hold on to them as long as possible. And obviously the reverse is true on the right side, as this map is mirrored. But so far, so good. We're just building some infantry, capturing some cities. Don't need to whip out the Blunder List just yet. And going for this advanced city, as is my opponent. So far, so good. And my opponent is going to be a little bit faster to me than me in the middle. In order to balance out the player 1 advantage, player 2 starts out with an extra infantry on the board. So that means player 2 is going to be faster than me on one side of the map. But that is perfectly fine. That's how you got to balance out the first turn advantage. As in, like chess first turn advantage at the top level is a big deal, but I don't know how, like Advanced Wars, if it how big of a turn advantage it is. I'm sure at the top level it's decisive, but just me speculating. And both of us build tanks out of this middle base right here in order to have a flexible position where the tanks can go to any area of the board quite easily. So far, it's a pretty quality game right here. However, my opponent is going to be a little bit more efficient on the captures, as this guy will be able to get this city right here, and this guy will be able to get this city, whereas I will not be able to get this city for the rest of the game. And I am very sad about that. But I do build a tank over here on this side to counter if this tank goes this way, because I didn't want this tank to just chase it around the whole time. So what I'm going to try to do is put pressure over here on my strong side and just try to hold my opponent off on the weak side as long as possible, which is how you play on these maps with a clearly defined strong and weak side. And my opponent now putting pressure on both of these cities, as this infantry will be able to capture either one of them. And also putting pressure on this one, but I've got some infantry nearby to interrupt. And going to get all of these captures, going to move the tank up, and have like this little infantry formation here ready to defend these 2 cities as they're about to fall under an attack. And then my opponent does not go for this, as I had this infantry in range, but I do manage to put the tank on the city, so this infantry will not be able to start the capture, will not be able to occupy it, and also this tank can shift to the island should that be necessary. My opponent built another tank over here, starting at tank chain, where this tank will always be able to cover this one. So very good move. So far, some pretty high quality gameplay. And even using the black boat here as a blocker, because these tanks are doing like 1 damage to this thing. So and then infantry cannot shoot up black boats at all. So this infantry is pretty safe with that black boat blocking, and starts this city, uses these guys as protection in case I would want to interrupt that. And right now, we're even in cities, but I am going to not be able to get this one at all, and probably not be able to get this one. So that is going to be a big disadvantage for me. And I move this infantry up here and start the capture. However, let's whip out the blunder list, because this is a little bit too much here. If I just started the capture and moved these and kept these infantry a little farther back, it would have been better. Because this infantry can get a double team by these two and get shot. And then this infantry can get double teamed by these two. And this will be at 1 HP, or if Max gets a good luck roll, then it'll be completely killed. I'll have lost 2 infantry over here. I do not have the infantry numbers to capture this eventually, and then blue can just target fire my infantry. But I do manage to use the tank over here as a blocker, which is going to allow blue to start a capture on this perhaps. But yeah, this is going to get interrupted, and this infantry is going to get picked off. So just slight mispositioning there. And I am trying to defend this whole area, as this tank right here can sit on the city. It is safe from blue's tanks, and I just have to worry about defending this. Alright, goes in. Yep, that infantry is a goner. That capture gets interrupted. There's the funny number. And there's the anti-air to counter the copter that I just built. But the anti-airs can just chase the copters around. There's not a whole lot of woods and mountains to bog down the anti-air. But Max still likes those copters, and they deal a ton of damage to Max's tanks. Actually, tanks and copters have the same attack when going up against infantry or tanks, which is kind of a cool thing to know. But those copters do a little bit better against medium tanks and neo tanks, which will surely hit the field as I pick off this infantry right here and go in, taking more shots, still trying to get this city. Copter moves up as well, and I use the 6. I walk off the city and able to pick that guy off, and I bring the tank in, so finishing off all these infantry over here, which made me a little bit happy. However, this is going to go through for my opponent, and me just allowing this is a bit of a mistake, as my opponent can have this guy go grab the city. This guy can block one side, and the black boat can block the other side, and I will not be able to get to this side without a tank in order to interrupt it. So I basically gave up this city, but I did get a couple infantry kills. But I'm not going to be able to get that city, get the income, build a nice wall of infantry over here, and build my own anti-air to counter any possible copters that come in. A little preemptive, but at the same time, like, you know, Max builds copters, so this early anti-air build, not really a bad idea. As infantry takes a shot, tank even takes a shot, a 5-7 shot, another tank chain coming in. So blue is committing to a fight over here, but I'm okay with that, fighting on the strong side. And yeah, that infantry and black boat will protect, but the blue is going to get this city here on the left. Tank even comes in and takes a shot. Even that tank kablamos an infantry right there. And I'm in a bit of trouble here on the left, as this city of mine is being threatened. I'm down 1 city right now. It's this one. I might be able to make a play on this city right over here. But first, I got to worry about this incursion right here. This filthy peasant infantry has defiled my cities, but I'm not Kindle, so I don't have any way of damaging that thing. But I'm able to swap out the 5 and the healthy tank and take out that 7 HP tank right there. So at least I'm getting some good vehicle trades off of this. And I boldly bring up the copter. It is in anti-air range, but I've got a plan. I have that tank go in, and I block with the black boat. Now this anti-air cannot reach the copter without a super, which is not going to happen this turn. So I'm able to pick off that tank. I'm pretty happy about that. Heal the chip damage on the copter as well with the black boat. And I'm in down cities, but I've got some really good value trades as I pick off yet another infantry. And going in, reduce that infantry to 1 HP. And I go for a tank chain, and I go basically sacrifice this infantry to get an interrupt on that city, trying to keep the income as even as possible. However, this is going to go through, and my opponent is about to be up 2 cities, but it's about to get even worse. My opponent's up 2 cities right now, continues the cap over here, and takes a shot, knocks my infantry down to 1 HP, and even starts this. So my opponent is, I'm up in value, but my opponent is pretty close in value and is doing great on the cities. Up 2 cities right now. It's about to be like 4, but this is going through for me, so I got that going for me, which is nice. And more tanks come out, another anti-air. No copters yet, so my anti-air right now is just a glorified infantry killer. But with 120% attack, the anti-air can, I think it might be able to one-shot infantry on cities with, actually it's 130% because of this firepower. So on a city, okay, it's a roll. But it's definitely one-shotting on woods or any lower terrain. My 1 HP cannot take that down, so the 3 HP has to go in and finish the job. And now I'm going to try and make a play on this city right here, as I had no infantry in range before, but now I do, also threatening the comm tower, which could be huge. Join capping over here on the right side. Going in, bring the vehicles back, and my copter's got to be careful, and I shift this tank over, trying to put a lot of pressure on this middle island right here, and try to force blue to shift over away from my weak side, which I'm cool with. And I start this city as well. There's a lot of infantry over here that will surely crash into my forces, but I'm okay with that, as I know I'll win this side eventually. And reducing the infantry numbers will be huge, as this base right here, it can't make both. Like, I can always make both tank and infantry, right? Because I have 2 bases. But blue cannot do that, because blue only has the 1 base. And with the anti-air can shift over if blue decides to build a copter. However, blue's power almost online. Goes in, takes out a couple infantry over here. Tank even finishing the job, as this city only has 1 capture point left. It will get finished next turn, and city gets interrupted, and that city gets interrupted as well with these infantry. Blue is doing a good job not overextending, and just kind of shifts everything into a defensive position, trying to force my hand, which is pretty smart. I could start this, but then it would get interrupted. But I think that might actually be the right idea, because I can shift these tanks over as well, or I can like start this and like keep going here and try to overload blue on this right side of the map, because all these vehicles on the left side, they will not be able to transition as quickly, even though that movement bonus is about to go online. However, I do find a free pickoff right here with the copter, as the black boat can once again block on this square, so I was pretty happy about that. However, this, I'm not sure if this was a blunder or not, but probably shifting the copter over and trying to pressure this side would be good too. I gotta be careful about this copter getting extra movement with the max force there, but maybe shifting like committing to this area on the right side, I think was the correct play, because it like all this stuff on the left would have to shift over. So that was a free KO. It's always nice to pick up opposing infantry, but unfortunately I won't be able to stop this without like sacrificing a tank. And I'm going to pick off a couple of these weakened infantry. I'm going to start that. And I'm leaving this guy in join cap range. Got the anti-air as well. However, my opponent's power is online, and we'll see if my opponent pops it. First, moving some stuff up, takes out that infantry, and can't quite get this one, but it's interrupted just enough, as the city's got 4 capture points left, and this infantry only has 3 HP, also interrupting that infantry on the blue city as well, and starting this one. So I am down 4 cities, and it's about to get way worse. Builds a medium tank here, and This is a really good play by blue, as you definitely want to build those more expensive units when you have the income lead, as I will have to break the bank in order to build another medium tank, as I'll have less than 16k next turn, which is the cost of a medium tank, as this tank is going to get repaired, and that's going to take 700 out of my bank. So medium tank buy is really good, especially against Max, because you don't have artilleries that can do a lot of damage, right? Artilleries are really cost effective, but Max can't really use them very well. I mean, you could build one, you know, and if you position it perfectly, it could be useful, but it's just really high risk, and I don't have that kind of skill. The copter, though, does get a free shot on that infantry right there, stalling out that city for another turn. I join cap and try to weaken this infantry. City's got one capture point left, so Max will have to, or Blue will have to, or both Max. Blue will have to commit some vehicles in order to stop that from going through, and I'm going to take a shot there and back off when maybe I should have committed a little bit harder, but Blue's also in a nice flexible position, ready to defend the island, and Blue is fine stalling out the game because they have a 4,000 income lead, and that is going to be not good for me. And I'm saving a bit of money, but not really enough money, because I should be saving more money to build a Neo tank to counter this medium tank. Max Neo tanks will pulverize anything that they just look at. So I really should have saved up. Instead of building this regular tank, should have saved up for a Neo tank. I did build a medium tank of my own on the weak side to try to counter all these small tanks. But all these small tanks are just going to run away and transition over here. So this medium tank might have been a bit of an overbuy, but at the same time, I really had to be careful that I just didn't get steamrolled by all these vehicles over here on the left side. So, a lot of different stuff going on as that these infantry all get picked off. Same with that one on the city. I just left that guy to die for some reason. That's the King David maneuver right there. Just goes in forward, you know, and then all the rest of the army pulls back, and then that infantry is dead, and his wife is now free and available, is now newly single, and that is just the way that King David planned it. Now the black boat is going to be an annoying blocker, taking away like this avenue of attack from my tanks and infantry over here, so good positioning there. However, my medium tank gets a free KO, and maybe I could start this, but it's probably not gonna ever go through, as Blue has their own medium tank over here. And I gotta be really careful about this anti-air still. My copter is really zoned out by it. And I use the black boat as a blocker again. That black boat's running out of fuel. It's got 3 fuel left, and I think they use 1 per turn. Like just even if they stay still, they lose the 1 fuel. And yeah, that infantry right there got the job done. I finally have that city. I'm only down 2 cities right now. My opponent is doing a great job defending all of their cities, and I need to try and flip this city, or perhaps this one. And my opponent goes in, takes a shot on the tank, and going to pulverize some infantry and weaken my front lines. And that tank finishes it off, allowing that tank to go in. My opponent's inflicting a lot of damage, mostly on infantry, but we'll see what I can do. I've got max force already, and I need about 24,000 in order to get the superpower. So I'm going to go in. Copter takes a shot. I get a nice little roll there, taking out that tank. And I'm just going to shuffle around a little bit, even shooting on the medium tank. I don't do that much damage, but I take a lot in return, giving me more and more charge because I am going for the super this turn. Sacrifice the 3 HP tank and going after that infantry, allowing this tank to go in. Can't get the roll, and that made me very, very sad. But that allows this tank to go in, and now I have enough for the super. That extra movement allows this anti-air to run boldly forward, picking off the copter, and knocks that tank down to 1 HP. So I was talking about that medium tank, able to use the extra movement, pick off yet another infantry, which allows this tank to go in and pick off that tank. And this tank just goes in for the HQ tank just to deal some extra damage and make the best out of this superpower. And that tank comes in, finishes it off. No infantry in the area to take advantage of any of these KOs though. And and I was able to get some great value off of that. However, I don't really have the infantry numbers to really take a full advantage of this, as blue still has all of their cities. The only city I've been able to take back is this one, and blue is up 2 cities yet again. Medium tank goes on the HQ, infantry finishes the job, and blue actually activates their super. I didn't like see that get activated, but yes, everything now is going to get exploded, as all these infantry, they're no longer going to be alive. The copter takes that tank down to 2, and that 1 HP tank can knock it down to 1, which allows this infantry to finish it off. Yep, there it goes. And there's another copter right there to replace the fallen copter from last turn. And now blue is putting a ton of pressure over here on the left side. And I gotta be careful. I don't want to just lose this base. You know, I'll lose it just as fast as my voice cracked right there. Tank goes in and infantry goes in, just trying to weaken my infantry so I cannot capture any more cities. But that's not going to stop me from trying with this guy. And that 4 HP tank goes down. 1 HP infantry goes down. I join cap over here, and I sacrifice my anti-air for damage. Maybe I should have pulled it back on this city and tried to heal. As let's see, where could it have gone? Okay. It couldn't really go anywhere that I could heal it, but I could pull it back and then heal it. But I also built another one last turn in preparation for this anti-air going down. So I'll take that damage. 3 damage from a 2 HP anti-air is pretty solid. It's good value for me, at least. And I decide to play defense. I got a medium tank chain, and I have tank even goes here for a shot. And moving this up, blue's black boat runs out of fuel and sinks into the depths. Now tank can go in and interrupt this, and copter. But I have the anti-air covering, I have tanks covering, so we'll see if blue decides to go in on this city right here. But blue will get this city, and there's really not a whole lot I can really do about it, and backs off the vehicles, so I'd have to commit some vehicles, lose a lot of value over here in order to actually get that. Yep, goes in with the tank, interrupting that city, and blue is just doing a great job of keeping all of their cities blue. And this is something like high-level players do that that I really need to work on as my black boat falls into the abyss, as it too runs out of fuel. As like at the higher levels, right? The smallest advantages mean more because people are better at capitalizing, right? And so if blue is able to get a steady income lead for most of the game, well then blue could build like neo tanks, medium tanks, and I just won't have the bank for it. But I did save up money, so I am going to build a big scary neo tank, and I decide to take out this tank, cover everything with the medium tank. This tank's running out of fuel as well, and there's the neo tank. I'm like, all right, I am going to go in on this HQ, and you know, it's just going to be what it is. I'm going to go in on that thing and try to defend over here, as I just consider this city lost. Moving up some copters as well. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to make a big attack on this weak side, on this HQ, because I have not been able to flip anything. Don't really have infantry numbers on the front lines ready to flip stuff. So my opponent will get that flip. Now my opponent is up 4 cities and going to go after this one too. Without power, won't be able to stop that. So I just left that city completely hanging. So we can add that to the blunder list as well. Very asinine move by me to just leave that city very hanging. I could maybe set, let's see, I need 22k. I was about to say, maybe I could sacrifice some tanks into the medium tank, but I don't even think I could do it. Maybe in the copter as well. I don't think I could get the 22k charge in order to get that. So, lost that city, but I'm like, alright, I'll try this one. And yeah, I mean, I got some really, really good value trades. But my opponent is able to always hold on to the cities, and those value trades mean nothing over the long term if I can't get any income. But I will amass my units over here, ready for a gigantic attack. But yeah, now my opponent's up 6 cities, so that's going to be a big deal. This infantry is going to die, but I'm hoping my opponent will commit some units, and then I can get some trades in. And just commits 1 infantry, which is smart, brings everything else back in reserve, ready to interrupt, and can't really go in over here as I've got the terrain advantage, and an extra tank over here just helping out against the numbers of infantry, although this tank should go over here and help out. But I also need to be careful about the HQ. Able to take out that infantry right there, so I can maybe make a play on it and get that city right back. Going in with a join cap. I join all those weakened units to make that infantry as healthy as possible. I build a wall of infantry and just trying to set up myself for an attack, a fight, something. I build 2 small tanks. Maybe should have saved up for a Neo again. And my opponent will go in and take a lot of my infantry down. And still nowhere close to power with these expensive units. We could see the power going in. Goes for another interrupt, as that city was going to go through next turn if blue did not interrupt it, as the city's got 10 capture points, and everything just shuffles around, and I do not like these positions. I am absolute garbo. I need to study all of Chloe Box games, because Chloe Box is always brawling, and I feel like I could learn a lot. I feel like Chloe Box and me have a similar play style, a very similar set of skills. However, Chloe Box is like 100 times better than me, but you know, it's like chess. You know, like you have those grandmasters that if you share those same play styles with, you should study those games. As I will take a couple of these infantry down and protect all my cities, but over here, not able to get a whole lot done. I'm join capping. I'm taking some infantry shots, trying to block. Power could be coming online pretty soon. Put the medium tank on this comm tower inexplicably, and I start this city. And blue could interrupt this. It would give me some more value, but we'll see what blue decides to go for here. As I go for the copter triple infantry build, takes out some of these infantry, sacrificing, but it's gonna need to knock that thing down to a 3 HP or less in order to actually interrupt that. And interrupts over here. So that was a good interruption. And everything else just kind of backs off as blue is now clearing all of my infantry on the left. And yeah, I'm pretty cooked here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty cooked. I do get that flip, so now I'm only down 4 cities. So it's like Chris Paul hitting that huge 3 to cut the lead down to 42. Able to take out that infantry though, and weaken a couple more of these infantry here on the left. On the right, I send in my anti-air to pop that copter, build another anti-air to replace it, because it's inevitably going to not make it. And going in, and I'm trying to make something happen, but I don't want to full commit just yet. Back to my opponent. My opponent will be getting power this turn, just needs a few more of these infantry takeouts, maybe 1 vehicle shot. Can't quite get it yet. Takes out a couple of these weakened infantry. Anti-air might be able to get the job done, and there's the tank, there's the power. Now that anti-air goes all the way down to 1 HP. Copter goes down to 1 HP. Medium tank goes down to 1 HP. And those were all rolls. I got super lucky, but we'll see if it ends up mattering here in the end. Because 1 HP units, like, I gotta repair them. But we'll see what I can do. Almost have super. And there is the super being activated. One-shots the copter. Bring that 1 HP infantry back. One-shots the tank. And try to go in on the medium tank. I do take it out. And that extra movement allows me to pop that that tank down to 2 HP. Taking a few more infantry out here on the left side. Moving the tanks in. Taking out the anti-air. However, I still think I'm pretty cooked on this fight. I'm trying to make something happen over here to try and get I will be getting this. I guess blue could interrupt it with that tank right there. This tank, though, if super gets activated, might have more important targets to go for. And blue's still up, so this will even out the income. But I think I'm losing too much value here. Back to blue. Going in, taking out my tank. And gonna sacrifice some infantry in order to guaranteed get a 2-shot with those 2 tanks, allowing that Neo tank to come in, get a massive shot on my Neo tank. And copters go in, and all my units have dwindled, and I am now majorly down in value. as all my infantry over here get weakened. This infantry is going to go on the HQ, and you already know I'm leaving that hanging. So, yeah, I bring that tank in, shuffle around, weaken some infantry, pop a copter, pop another copter, bring that copter down to 1 HP. This copter should be able to finish it off. There it goes. And I'm going to weaken some tanks as well, trying to protect my forces over here. However, I do not have the unit presence, and I don't wall properly. My opponent will get the super, and everything's going to die. There it is. Copter dead. Copter dead. HQ under threat. And everything over here is just completely gone. And that clears out that 3 HP. My Neo tank is gone, and yeah, I'm just hosed at this point. So yeah, I got, and now that HQ cap's unstoppable. So yeah, I got dominated by a 1300. I honestly didn't play super bad, but yeah, I was just kind of disappointed. Could have got the big upset. I found some really nice tactics there, but in the end, I could not overcome the positioning, and my own positioning there was garbage, especially on that last turn. But yeah, this was a very exciting game, and you know, it taught me that like unit value is not everything. Getting value trades aren't everything. That income matters a lot, and also is a masterclass by Blue on how to deny your opponent income, and also how to just, you know, when your opponent leaves properties hanging, how to just walk onto them and hit the capture button. So very well done there. Definitely a 1300 level maneuver. And I hope you enjoyed this replay. I didn't. I'm just kidding. It was a very good replay to look over because I felt like I played pretty well but still lost, and those are always the games you want to look over. So I'll see you in the next one.